Oh, wait, did we start already? We're already on. Hey,
I was
everybody.
gonna say, hey guys,
Hey, guys.
Oh, yeah, people are showing up.
because I just switched the URL to actually work.
Switch to URL to actually work.
I also wish they made this chat window thing a lot easier.
Is that you saying that, or are the fans saying that?
No, it's me.
Okay.
They made it.
Before we start, we want to thank El Adam for helping us out behind the boards. He's running the show back there. So
Check out his podcast, Your Favorite Album.
yes, your favorite El album.
How you doing today, Pete?
I'm okay.
This is different than I imagined. I guess I imagined more like we'd be able to see people,
Oh no.
or at least interact with them, but it's just you
No,
and I
no.
taking Twitter questions and internet questions.
Yeah. Well, there's the chat window in there.
Right.
That, Adam's going to be feeding us questions hopefully, but
I guess we
Luckily-
should give priority to people who are doing it live as opposed to the people who sent in tweets, right?
right. Well, we have a
Yeah.
couple of tweets. We have a couple of starter questions.
Yeah, just to get everyone warmed up.
I like this Josh on the tube with Yay for El Adam.
You're gonna give him a big head.
David Ellis just said they can't hear me.
They can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I coming in loud?
Is El Adam too loud, or is he just? You can hear him in the background. Hold up 2 fingers for yes.
Well, anyway, Pete, how are you doing today?
I'm
This
doing
is
all
our
right.
first ever live broadcast.
Yeah, we initially intended for this to be just for the patrons, the Patreon supporters, and that proved to be difficult to figure out. So everybody gets benefits, but thank the Patreon supporters because they made this happen.
And once it's archived, it'll only be for Patreons,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So
if
thank
you're
you
not
to
seeing it
Patreons.
now live, then you're not going to see it unless you're a Patreon
Wait a
supporter.
minute. So if they're not seeing it live, then they are.
If you're not seeing it live right now, then listen carefully. You're not going to see this unless you're a Patreon supporter.
But if they're already seeing it, then they anyway.
Listen carefully.
So Star Wars, huh? Should we
Star
start with some
Wars.
of the internet questions, or Adam? Is anyone chiming in yet with any actual questions?
Tell him to chime in. Let's go.
Yeah, go ahead with question. Well, let's start with, I know the first question, he jumped right on it, was a recent guest of the show, Dan Telfer.
He said, "Any starter questions for tonight's Patreon Q&A?"
No, that was me.
Oh, that was you said
Yeah,
that. Okay.
that's
He
Pete the
said,
Retailer.
"What are the top 5 characters you are afraid will appear in Rogue One?"
Afraid is an interesting wrinkle there.
So we each do. I guess we could just freeball it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Let's just do one each for now. To give for brevities, I think questions are pouring in. I see Adam is gesticulating, so
my number one character I don't want to see
in Rogue One.
I'm just thinking of characters I do want to see. I want to see Space Jimmy Smits.
Sure.
I want to see, and it's nice because Space Jimmy Smits would be he'd be the appropriate age considering the last time we saw him was
Oh,
in
right.
Revenge of the Sith, so
Right,
he'd be
right.
like the natural age. So
No magic for that.
I don't want to see Darth Vader.
You will, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure you will, but I
Yeah.
don't want to see him.
No.
Who's your choice?
I have concerns about this CGI Tarkin that they say they're going to do.
The famous theme restaurant, CGI Tarkins.
Exactly. I know, because the prosthetic Tarkin that they did in the
Revenge of the
Sith.
Yeah.
I only saw it the once, but I remember that being bad. I've seen screenshots of it since. I was like, that doesn't quite
Yeah,
look.
and he was far away too
Yeah,
in that particular.
right. So it's tough. I don't know.
Although that might help confirm your Snoke's theory, though.
Right.
So anyway, Adam,
Spoilers.
are people weighing in with questions?
2 people. Well, they said I'm barely audible, although my voice keeps coming up. But we've got a couple people wondering if you guys can explain staring at the French horn.
Staring at the French horn.
So the question is, can we explain staring at the French horn?
Staring at the French horn. We must have said it in some episode,
Yeah, I can't remember the origin of it.
but some listener whose name I can't remember now, over on the Star Wars Minute Listener Society, which I assume you're all members of,
Sure. That's how you need to find us here.
posted the clip of Luke staring into the twin sunsets with
A loop of Luke with a loop with us saying staring at the French horn because
staring at the French horn
Yeah,
over and over again.
we said it back and forth to each other like that.
And now we can't stop saying it all the time.
Right. I think it might have been a swimweek thing. It might have been a only on weekend edition.
Maybe.
Could be. Who knows?
So,
but
anyway.
it ended with Moof Milker, which I
Moof Milker.
can only imagine that. I don't think I said that in the regular feed. I think that's strictly a swimweek.
Yeah, I think you actually mentioned that in the original Star Wars coverage, weirdly.
Strange. Yeah, it was another one of those things that we predicted.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I
yes,
see.
so staring at the French horn.
Staring at the French Horn.
If you go to the Star Wars Minute Listener Society, we'll bump it so it goes back. We should just pin it to the top so it's
Yeah.
the first thing you see automatically. But who was that? Who asked that question, L.
A
Adam?
couple of people. We had
Oh.
Josh on the tube, Dave Ellis, Rick Wilmuth.
But who asked the question about staring at the French Horn?
A couple of people.
They
There's-
all- that
Oh,
was
wow,
There's a
that's-
multiple.
They were like agreeing on that question.
We're going to have to add that to our FAQ page.
Also, Tom Taylor says, I was fine with not knowing the origin of French horn, but now I love it more.
Yeah.
Katie the retailer says, hi, Daddy.
Aww.
When did she learn to type?
And,
It's the only way she gets to see you. Is
Yeah.
that's on the live feed.
and Francesca Langer, I might be mispronouncing that last name, says, what should happen in the inevitable Obi-Wan movie set between episodes 3 and... What?
Right. Obi-Wan movies.
Thank you, Francesca, for that question.
Francesca said, what should happen in the inevitable Obi-Wan movies set between episodes 3 and 4?
It's only going to be one movie, not a trilogy. Of
Oh, I don't know.
movies.
Is it?
I don't know. I've heard trilogy. Yeah, everyone loves trilogies.
Sure.
I think it should just be him running around Tatooine.
Yeah.
As sick as I am of Tatooine, it seems like the natural thing would be to him get involved with some local criminal scene or somehow be involved in some local matter.
Right. I've said the same thing for the Han Solo movie/movies. Are you going to give yourself a mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way people can hear the questions clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. You guys used all the chords.
Oh.
Good. Don't worry.
Sorry, everyone. Adam is. We should keep talking while Adam's
Right.
fidgeting around back there.
There's one in my drawer, the drawer where the mixer came from. But or do you have your kit here?
Live.
Tech.
Live.
All right.
Answer that question now.
Yeah. So I've said this about the
We'll
Han
vamp.
Solo trilogy, the proposed Han Solo movie, standalone movie trilogy. That's a trilogy.
Yeah.
I've said this about that I don't want it to be, showing us all the stuff that we know about
How we
and
got
how
a
that,
scar.
how we got a
Yeah.
scar, how he became afraid of snakes, all that stuff. I would love it if it was an Obi-Wan movie or movies that just had very little to do with what we've seen already. It's kind of they've been doing interesting stuff with that in the comic book.
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wars comic, which I don't think you've actually started yet.
I
You keep saying you're going to.
Not true. I read the first issue of Lando, courtesy of our friend Jordan.
Oh, right,
Jordan
right.
White. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Although, like you said, I don't like that Lando. I don't like that Lobit talks.
Keep
like a
reading.
Rick-
It's interesting.
I remember you
It's
mentioned
good.
it pays off nicely, but Adam is
Um,
back. But anyway,
But
so what do you want to see Obi-Wan doing?
I just want to see, random adventures, a little bit like kind of the Clone Wars episodes that don't really deal with. I guess Clone Wars is what I want. I want just some of the Obi-Wan stuff from Clone Wars. Oh no, wait, that's between 2 and 3.
Clone Wars is between 2 and 3.
I want a similar idea except after.
And then, I can't hear myself.
So the question is, does Obi-Wan just stay on Tatooine the whole time, or does he have off-island adventures? It must be tough if he's like, well, I guess I got to go back to Tatooine now and live in the desert. If he's off
Right.
having other, I feel like he has to be there the whole time, like meditating, and because that's what Yoda did. Yoda went and, as far as we know, hid out on Dagobah,
Mm-hmm.
and for all we know, that's what. Are we allowed to talk
Hello?
Episode
Hello?
7 spoilers?
No.
Can anyone hear me out there?
Can
Just
you-
want to make sure this is
I want to see Watto. I want to see Obi-Wan. and-
Obi-Watto.
Obi-Watto.
They never really got to meet, did they?
No, they did not. Obi-Wan stayed on the ship the whole time. He never got to see Tatooine while he was on the ship. Spoiler alert.
Except for the
Oh.
parking lot on the outskirts that they landed the cruiser in.
I bet he's like, I hope that Mos Espa. He hears everyone cheering at the at the Bunta Eve thing, and he's like, no. So that's what
Okay,
we'd
so-
like to see in the Obi-Wan movie.
Is Adam coming
Okay.
through in the mix?
So I found out I pronounced Francesca's last name correctly, but I messed up the first name. Sorry about that. Okay, we've
everyone
got
can
some
hear
more
you now, though?
questions. People said they can hear me. Yeah.
All
okay.
right, welcome, honorary third chair, L. Adam.
I'm mic'd up.
Voice
another
of
question.
Voice of God, L. Adam.
Yep. Okay, we've got. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just gonna scroll back up through these.
Sorry, you want to read another one off the Facebook?
I got
channel?
one. I'm
You
back.
got one. Okay.
Don't make me get that paper.
Joe Craig. I'm gonna mess up this name. Craigsack. I'm sorry, man.
Just go Joe first initial.
Just say Joe. Yeah.
Joe K. I'm wondering about your favorite music from the Star Wars films. Any particular pieces?
Well, I think I mentioned when we were covering Star Wars that I have a fond attachment to that "Here They Come," the kind of
The TIE fighter attack.
the TIE fighters attacking when they're leaving the Death Star, because I was working stage crew. I was the spot operator on a production, and I had I had a headset, and I had to. So every once in a while, we just all be sitting around up front, and then somebody would say, "You're like, all right, we're gonna do a run through," and I'd be like, that music would just start going through my head because I'd strap on the headset, climb up my little ladder, get on the spot, and then be like, Din, 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 din.
When you climbed up the ladders, it'd go dun, 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 like the sound they make when they're
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess the ones I like best tend to be from Star Wars and Empire.
Right.
I also like the asteroid field music.
Sure.
The dun, 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 dun,
Oh.
dun.
Yeah, with that mixed in.
And then you have the dramatic music during the Bespin escape when when they're trying to get Han Solo before he goes on Slave One, and it's very very dramatic. Oh, this really makes me want to watch Star Wars and Empire again.
Although, well, I guess we'll get there. But one of the things that I do like about Attack of the Clones.
What?
This must be the thing you like about Attack of the Clones.
Now, there's a handful of small things that I like about Attack of the Clones, but I think on its own, love theme from Attack of the Clones, besides having an amazing title, which is actually it's like Worlds Apart or something like that, but then in parentheses, I think love theme from Attack of the Clones is a good song. I just wish that the on-screen matched the music.
It should just be silent with just the music playing.
Right.
It probably would be better.
With a little title that says, Anakin and Padme fell in love. All right, what do we got?
Charlton Heston doing the
First, people want to see how Han gets his bullwhip in his hat. They're getting compliments on the SWM on the mics, so well done, guys.
Matching the logo.
Indeed.
The original logo.
Clink.
And Jason Jong wants to know if you guys have seen The Force Awakens since you've discussed it on Swimwe.
I have not. I've only seen it twice.
I have seen it 3 times now. I think I did see it once after. Yeah, I saw it with former guests of the show, El Adam, Crazy Joe, and Song, and, of course, my lovely wife, Ella.
Do you think you'll see it again?
Yes.
This is something I was going to bring up on the this week's Swim Week. Should I bring it up now, or should I save it for the Swim Week episode?
Sure, bring it up now.
Okay.
Why not?
Are you going to buy it on home video? Any form? Are you going to download it?
I will most likely buy it digitally. I don't, I've sworn off physical media, but there's also, Star Wars is always special, obviously.
But are you going to buy
Has
it when it
special
first
rules.
comes out? Because supposedly the first one is going to be, it's coming out in like April or something.
I haven't really bought Star Wars, as we said. I haven't purchased a Star Wars since the special edition VHS. I don't think so.
Right.
I owe them a couple of purchases. If they do a bare bones one and then a special one, that's
You're willing
fine.
to. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy it until we're about to do it on the show, so that way it'll be
okay.
nice and fresh. I will not have seen it for like 3 years, I guess,
Wow.
at that point. So there you go. So,
All right, what do we got next? Oh, and hi, Jason. That Jason, I believe, is he took a bunch of good photos at the Super Week show.
That's right. Yeah, those were good ones.
Yeah.
Professional photography.
Professional.
Staring at the French horn.
Francesco with another question.
Give someone else a chance.
Also, Baby the Retailer's feeding you guys spinach.
Oh.
Do you guys think Obi-Wan has PTSD from Episode 3? I would if I survived the genocide. That's her statement, not mine.
Right.
Not to mention cutting off the limbs of his best friend.
Right. I will punt on that one. We're not allowed to talk about Episode 3 until Episode 3 happens.
Well, that would make an interesting Obi-Wan Solo movie. Then would be him dealing with the trauma of it would be him like in therapy, like a group therapy session with like Walrus Man who lives on Tatooine,
right.
and other people.
Could I toss out my plot line for that movie then?
Yes,
Sure.
Adam.
It's just him like brainstorming a way to explain how he got the lightsaber.
Oh, like
to give to Luke, and then in A New Hope, that's all he's all. Those are your dad's.
With like his buddy,
Yeah.
Like Obi-Wan's got like a neighbor buddy. That
His
he's
improv
like,
crew.
Would you believe it if I told you? Now he's turning into Maxwell Smart. Would you believe?
Although I do love the idea of it being Obi-Wan, almost like not a one-man show, but you could see it being Obi-Wan alone in his hut, and he's haunted by the ghost, not the literal Force ghosts, but like the ghosts of all the all the slaughtered younglings and Padme and all the people who died because of his mistake.
Okay.
There you go.
I've got a
psychological thriller.
I've got three kind of behind-the-scenes questions. For
Did
you,
we tweet
right?
out that we were live, or just
Oh,
we did it
Right
earlier?
before we went on, I tweeted we're about to do the big
Okay,
live
okay,
broadcast.
good.
So
And I'm assuming that the Listener Society guys found us. That
I-
we're okay.
too late now.
Okay, you can check the Facebook page just to make sure.
I know. I don't want to do it on camera.
Okay, so we've got three kind of behind-the-scenes questions.
Sure.
Josh on the tube, are you guys still recording mostly at your office? And have you ever had to have any strange conversation with coworkers about why these random people show up all the time?
I'll let you tackle that one, Pete.
Sure.
It's your office.
We are recording from my office right now, and as we said that, the custodial staff, the represented, who was the one who normally gives us weird looks, she just walked by on the other side of the glass.
But are you famous among your coworkers for doing a world-renowned podcast? Like, does everyone know what it is?
A couple of people that I've talked to about, and especially the people in my, department that I sit near, that I'm always, doing, boxing up mugs and printing out letterhead and stuff like that. And they're like, "What are you
Running your
doing?"
side business out of your day job.
Yeah, exactly. And we, Adam and I once explained our shows to our boss, and he was somewhat incrediulous.
Was he, like,
somebody
calling you
listens to
guys
that, basically?
Retailer, Adam, in here.
Oh, Adam, I don't know where he is. I'm L. Adam, sir.
Well, he going with your
That's true,
last
my
name.
professional name.
Your first name is L.
Yeah, exactly.
Short for Elvis.
Travis Mackin,
Hey,
oh,
Travis.
you know Travis. The
So-
Wookiee.
Yeah, our Wookiee friend.
he asks, well, he says, and then he asks, I'm wondering if you have picked names for the Patreon Supporters Week of Guest Stars, if this is still happening.
It is still happening.
It is still happening. We're trying to, with both the Patreon week is locked in. We're definitely going to do that
Yeah.
because
It's in the calendar.
we obviously we promise that to you guys, and we want to have you guys on. Scheduling has been tough as always. As we go further, we get we accumulate guests that we want to keep having back on, and then there's not enough room to add new people as we meet new people and get new contacts and all that. I think what we might end up doing, and I think we only briefly discussed this, is maybe just kind of
Flying everyone out, doing it live in one session with all
doing like a
five
We Are the
people.
World kind of thing.
Yeah. Everyone gets one word.
No, I meant going forward with the next two movies as far
Mhm.
as guest schedule. This is going off track a little bit, but guest scheduling, maybe, asking people if they'd prefer episode 2 or 3, and that way kind of treat returning guests, kind of split them between two, and then if we have room, we can bring people back for both.
I
But
like that. That's a good way of doing it.
I think we might have to split them up. Anyway, long story short, we are absolutely doing it. We don't know what the minutes will be yet. It depends on, we have some things kind of hanging in the air.
It's not going to be the credits, though, right?
No. It might be the one before the credits, might be the wrap-up and the parade.
Oh, but that's a good. That's
But yeah, some
neat.
stuff happens.
Yeah.
There's stuff in there, but no, it won't be the credits. So the credits we're going to save for somebody else. Maybe
We
we'll
got something crazy planned for the credits.
Yeah. I don't know.
You guys are on camera.
What?
Tom Taylor asks,
Tom Taylor.
Little Tommy Taylor.
do you guys avoid watching the movies prior to watching them minute by minute for the show?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have not watched Phantom Menace in its entirety for several years. I will not watch Revenge of the Sith until we're doing it minute by minute. But you watched them more recently than I did because you were watching with those children.
I was watching it with kids, and I was kind of their Star Wars Sherpa, kind of helping them through the whole thing. They're obsessed with it now, so
Mhm.
whatever happened, it worked. Although we did not watch Revenge of the Sith, we stopped because they were going to watch the Clone Wars cartoon, and so
You want to watch it in order.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
but that was the last time I watched it, and before that, I can't think of the last time that I watched the Phantom Menace.
Have you watched? I have not watched any Star Wars. I haven't watched Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, any of those since. I haven't watched any of them since we've done them on the show.
I have. But were we in the middle of what is it, Empire? I think when I went to maybe 2 years ago now, we took a trip to Italy. Ella and I went to Italy, and before that, I actually watched Star Wars in Italian, just as practice, And then also since then, I've put it on kind of with Baby the Retailer when we're hanging out and have nothing to do. Sometimes I'll put Star Wars on just to get her acclimated to it because it's going to be the soundtrack of her life. I'm not forcing it on her. I'm just putting it on in the background, and sometimes
Forcing it on her.
But but she's a big fan of R22 and CPP. CP. I'm not sure. Wait.
CP.
Yeah. I think it's CPP.
I really want to watch Star Wars and Empire again.
Yeah, she's watching. Catherine, type in the what how you say C3PO for me.
Umbrella.
Yeah, umbrella.
Rick Wilmeth
Hey, Rick.
says, you guys always joke around and say, oh, we'll just edit that out. How much do you actually edit out? Josh on the Tube quickly added on to that. I imagine that depends on whether it's a consiglio week.
Snappity dap.
Yeah, it varies. Now I think we have it down pretty smoothly. We tend to keep the ball rolling, keep the
ball
up
in
in
the
the air. So it's less editing. Early on, we were, there was a lot more starting and stopping, and we had to cut out some false starts, and we were doing it over Skype, so that had some problems. But it still takes time, just because I got to go through it and listen to it and kind of man the. I've toned down the beeps. I think you've noticed this week. With Scrimshaw, Joseph Scrimshaw's on this week, and he's not totally salty mouthed, but he
softened
one or two things that were borderline swear. So I beeped, I think, one or two things, and I turned it down because everybody was complaining that I was hurting their ears, and I'm sorry.
My freaking ears.
Because my ears are already damaged, so I don't.
We've got a breaking update. It's C-Plea-P.
C-Plea-Plea?
C-Plea-Plea.
Okay.
C-Plea-P.
C-Plea-Plea.
C-Plea-P.
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 There's an L on the first part, not on the second one.
Right.
C-Plea-P.
Dynamo Monkeys, clap if you
Hey.
love Dynamo Monkeys, asks, are you planning on coming to London for Celebration this year?
We are not.
No.
We
currently-
discussed it, but they're not doing any podcasts. Like, they don't have a podcast stage or anything like that. So,
Right.
so that was kind of like a.
Yeah, we reached out to them. The person that we had been talking to left for Anaheim Celebration, just I think disappeared. But then we
Coincidentally, that person was fired right after. No.
the person who gave us a stage never heard from again. No, they we reached out to them and asked if they were doing any podcast events. There was going to be a podcast stage, and the answer was no. They don't think they had room. It was going to be a much smaller show, so I think they're underestimating their audience because it sold out kind of instantly, more or less. So I think they booked too small of a place.
You think they underestimate their chances?
Yes. So I think they'll regret that decision, but with no podcast stage, no podcast as part of the show, then we are.
It was
not
tough to
going.
justify.
Yeah.
So, but would love to do more shows.
Absolutely.
I know we, other conventions or whatnot.
That's right. If you have a convention happening near you that you'd like us to be at, I guess tell them.
Yeah.
Ask them if they've heard of us.
Yes.
It's unlikely, but who knows? We'd love to go places and do more shows, and it gives us an excuse to hang out and meet new people.
Well, Celebration particularly would have been a good chance to do all our British
Right, yeah.
learn our. Would you have watched Star Wars the British version so you could get
Sure.
reacquainted with?
It's funny, all the Imperials are dubbed with like hick American accents.
You're part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
I've got
What do we got?
a Star Wars question and then more behind the scenes questions.
Okay.
All right, so Francesca again. She's just
think
asking
Adam likes
questions.
Francesca.
Ugh.
How you doing? Do you think Anakin's ghost will ever appear to Kylo Ren? If he did, what would he say to him? My add-on is who would portray Anakin?
You said betray or portray?
Portray.
Jake Lloyd, of course.
Yeah, they should get a totally new actor to.
Right.
I'm torn. I'm torn far because I'm not sure if I want. I do, as much as I disliked Hayden Christensen's performance as Anakin, I do like the idea of them tying them together. But it also seems like that would be kind of like if Anakin showed up, he'd be like, "Hey, man, I'm a good guy now. Look, I'm in Force Heaven, and stop doing stuff." So
Trust me.
So he'd be stopping the story. Like it seems like the thing that you'd want Anakin to show up is to push Kylo farther down the path, right?
Right.
So
Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, it would be a weird it would. I would be worried that it would be too much like shoehorning, like some of the other stuff that I feel was too much like on the nose. Like hey, remember this?
Yeah.
So like unless it happened like incredibly organically.
Well, how about this question?
wouldn't
Who
see
will
that.
be the force ghost we see? Will we see a force ghost, and if so, whom?
Kit Fisto.
Oh, that'd
Instead
be
of just wandering
amazing.
by.
Oh man.
So no, I guess I don't want to see Anakin. I like the fact that I guess we are discussing episode 7
Right. Yeah.
stuff
So
in
that's
this, but
not too
Okay,
much.
so
firewall up.
Right.
okay.
Is the
Ready?
Are we look, it looks like the camera's at a bit of a Dutch angle there. Are we like in an old Batman
You're
show?
you're a little Batman-y.
Okay.
Should we turn it down, or is it too?
No,
No,
it's too
no,
late
it's good.
just at the end we'll just slide this way a little bit.
Whoa.
So David Ellis asked,
David Ellis.
David Ellis. David
David.
Hahn was unexpectedly not available to come back tomorrow at the end of Jedi, and Chris Radke replaced him. Did I miss what was actually going on, or is that a private matter?
It was nothing dramatic. It was just we were recording with David, and we ran out of time, and
Yeah, I
basically
think
had to go. So
We started a little bit late, and then we kind of underestimated how long it would take, and then he just had a deadline. He was, he only was able to give us like an hour or whatever it was.
yeah, and so that's the only time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Where someone where we haven't been able to complete a week.
Right. Well,
I guess with
kind of
the,
accidentally.
with
The Bens, we had another, Ben Blacker and Ben Acker, we had another limited amount of time, and so we were able to do 3 with them, which worked out perfectly because then we were also able to get the Sklar brothers for a limited time, and so we were able to finish out with those 2.
Yeah, I think in the case of the Bens, it was like we were just like, let's just get as many as we can.
Right.
We weren't surprised when time ran out. Really, we were just like
Right.
crossing our fingers that we could
Can we
get
do
in,
another one?
you
Yeah.
know, get in as many. So, but no,
Yeah.
there's no drama behind it. Just kind of
Right.
scheduling issues. But yeah,
Right.
You guys ready for the next one?
Sure.
We've got Axon 303 with, do you guys sometimes find yourselves espousing Star Wars Minute theories to people who don't listen to the show? I've done that to my 9-year-old nephew a few times, and he often thinks I'm crazy.
I generally never make it a policy to discuss Star Wars unless I'm in front of a microphone.
Right. Yeah. Or I discuss it with my inner circle. I've surrounded myself with yes men who are all, on board with all
Yeah.
my crazy theories.
You're
about
Rick
Star
McCallum.
Wars.
You're Rick
Yeah.
McCallum's.
Yeah.
The Council of McCallums. McKella. Sometimes if people find out, oh yeah, I do a podcast or whatever, and they'll talk about it. But generally, I'm like, most people don't want to talk about it to the degree that I,
Right.
I discuss it as much as they want to discuss it. I don't really, corner people and give them my crazy conspiracy theories and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, that was it. Thank you, Axiom. Order
347.
We've got Michael Centra or
Hey.
Kentra.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mike
you know.
Centra.
Okay,
These are
should go by Michael Contra.
Listener Society regular.
Do you?
We met him at the Super Week,
Oh,
and he sent us the Malakili, I believe, right, Mike? Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, thanks, Mike.
C3P. What is it?
C. Pleepy.
C3P.
Do you guys still collect any Star Wars merchandise? Is there one piece of merchandise you consider to be your holy grail?
I rarely buy anything. I did buy a PZ4CO.
You should have brought it. You could have shown it off.
It's at my desk in the other room.
Right.
Odds and sods, as it were. I'll buy kind of random characters that I like, or if it's like a format that I like. A lot of Greedo. If I see anything Greedo in a new format, I'll usually buy it. But not just overall collecting. But there's a whole other thread on the Listener Society page right now, stemming from today's episode.
Well, this quest for the shirt.
Yeah, this Sebulba shirt. I don't think you were there at the time, but we had them at Forbidden Planet. We sold these shirts right when Phantom Menace came out. That were just close-ups of the characters' faces. It was a photo, giant print of just the character's face, close-ups, kind of looking straight ahead on black. No other decorations. Didn't really say Star Wars. Might have said it like small, kind of near the hem, but no, it didn't have multiple images. Didn't say like Sebulba in big letters. It didn't have wasn't tie-dye. There's a lot of these shirts out there those are the ones that you see if you look on eBay or all these other catalog things, but. this one Sebulba shirt. I had it. I wore it a lot, and then I had a handful of these, and I one by one they disappeared, and I wish I had the Sebulba one back, kind of now.
But all the research between you and Song and everyone else, you have not been able to find any proof that this shirt existed.
Not only, yeah, but well, I've searched for it in the past, and today, with Joe and Song and a handful of other helpful listener society members have all been kind of doing searches and looking in merchandise databases and overstock sites and stuff like that. And no, not even an image, not even the idea that one existed.
Right.
It's not a hallucination. Joe and Song remembered it clearly. We all had the Sebulba one. I believe Joe took me to the hospital wearing the Sebulba. I think that's the story that I told on today's episode.
So maybe when they were cutting your chest open, they ripped through the shirt and threw it away, and you never.
Yeah. No, it's just a small cut on my finger that needed stitches.
They still ripped the shirt off and threw. Yeah. Get that Sebulba shirt off. He's a grown man. Was this your inspiration to do the giant Star Wars head shirts? Lobit, Tornfar, Poltrinos.
And don't forget Deck Officer.
Deck Officer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot about that
one. Possibly. I always liked the design of those Phantom Menace shirts.
The big heads.
Probably, yeah. The big heads. Everybody tell us what we should do next for a big head shirt. We haven't done one in a little while. Lobit was the last one.
Lobit was the last one.
So not right now. We'll do the Q&A now, but go post on Listener Society and tell us what we should do next for a shirt.
We've got Spencer Apsley.
Spencer!
Hello, Spencer.
For hire.
Do people still hate it when you talk about the toys? You should talk about the toys more.
It's a controversial issue.
Yeah.
We can't bring it up without both sides weighing in furiously. It's a very divisive issue.
Right. But we do, a lot of people vocally support us talking about the toys. So,
are you saying we should talk about the toys and risk alienating the...
I'm saying we shouldn't completely avoid it. I don't know. We'll see it.
Maybe we'll put
have
it
to
behind
address
a toy wall where if we're going to talk about toys, we'll say, okay, we're talking about toys now, so stop the podcast if you don't want to hear toys.
We did have to cancel a special on a toy special that we almost did, but that might be, might happen again in the future. Next hiatus,
we'll see.
We've got Thomas Hulse or Hulsey.
Tommy H.
Tommy H. Given that you both know Jordan White and Alex is an award-winning comic book artist that he is there a chance you two might ever be able to collaborate on an offbeat but canonical Star Wars comic story? Good question.
It is a good question.
They're all good questions, though.
We would obviously be honored and jump at the chance, I think, but
I don't think my style fits the accepted house style of Star Wars stuff. My stuff, I think, is a little too cartoony.
Right.
For if they did kind of like like Dark Horse used to do those kind of Star Wars tales where they would have different people who might not be in the standard style do stories. I think that would be a better fit.
Or like Assistant Editors Month.
Yeah, or like that Tink and what was that one? Bink and
Tink and Bink.
Tink and Bink get killed or
Star
something.
Wars.
I don't remember.
Tag and Bink.
Yes,
Tag and Bink
are dead.
Admiral Tag and Jar Jar Binks are dead.
I think right now they've still got too tight of a grip on it because they're controlling it. But give it a couple of years, maybe they'll loosen up.
Loosen up.
Exactly.
But Jordan, if you're watching this, just say the word, man. I've never asked him because I didn't want to make it awkward. I didn't want to be like, say, Jordan, can I get a job over there? And he'd be like,
instead, you made a complicated
We let other
YouTube
people
alias.
ask.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you were like, can I?
I'll take that keyboard back.
Right.
Anthony Cucinata? Sucinata?
You
Anthony
just-
C.
Yeah. You
Do
can
you
just say
guys-
first
Tony
name.
C.
Oh. Do you
It's gonna be a
guys
story about cockroaches.
approve of Jar Jar?
Approve. The Queen does not approve.
It's such a strange phrasing of it.
Yeah.
I don't object to the fact of there being a kind of silly character in Star Wars, in principle. But I think it was...
I think we talked about this a little bit the last couple of weeks. It's the fact that he's always on. Like, every scene, he's in a lot of scenes, and when he is, he can't just, be... Like, C-3PO is in a lot of scenes, but he's often just either background or helping out with exposition or just kind of, part of the gang. Whereas, Jar Jar's in a lot of scenes where he's, there's something serious going on, and he's just like, whoa, like falling over and knocking into stuff.
Yeah, I think I would also feel differently if the other characters seem to react the way to Jar Jar that they should, which is like C-3PO, people are clearly annoyed by him all the time.
Right.
So you're like, okay, I'm willing to give that because there are annoying people and robots in real life, and so, you got to deal with that. But like Jar Jar is doing all these wacky antics, and none of the people around are like, ugh, or like, acknowledging at all that he's, maybe because they didn't realize they were just looking at, Ahmed Best in a kind of suit, and when they animated it, they really made it a lot goofier. But I feel like with a couple of tweaks if you made everyone else dislike him, I think he would be more tolerable. And like I said, in the Saturday morning cartoon, the Clone Wars. I find it much more tolerable in that situation.
Do they run that on Saturday mornings?
Probably. Well, nowadays you can run anything whenever you want.
Time is irrelevant.
It's 2016, man. Thanks, Tony C.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I just want to say if you guys are using movie quotes and if they sound like something technical, they're going to freak me out and make me think something's wrong with the feet. Not you guys, people typing stuff. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So Josh on the Tube asks,
Josh on the Tube.
did you guys sleep when you were in LA? How did you record so many hours of material? It was impressive.
Well, and, we fly back there every morning now and do an episode and then come back.
You should see how many we should go to London because we have like 10,000 frequent flyer miles.
My airline does not go to London.
So
There's a behind-the-scenes note spin-off of this. Alex and I do not travel together when we go places.
just in case
Just in case. It's like
Coca-Cola rule.
Coca-Cola rule?
Yeah.
that the two people who know the formula for
right.
Coca-Cola
Sure.
can't travel together.
And Tab.
Have we ever said who our replacement? Like if my plane went down, who would replace me? And if your
Have we
plane
said it
went-
out loud? And
Yeah.
we've discussed it. I don't know if
Oh,
we've
yeah.
told everybody that.
All right,
but,
have we discussed it on the show?
I don't think so. I don't think we got their approval either. I don't know if they know that there are replacements.
Well, I definitely told my sub. I thought we told our substitutes.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, mine is Chris Radke. If I were to perish, Chris Radke would take over my slot.
Right. He would Shemp your or no, Shemp. Technically Shemp was first, right?
Yes.
So
Well, before the movies, though.
yeah.
Anyway,
So he would
be my Darren.
he would Curly Joe your
He'd be-
Shemp.
He would Curly
Joe?
He would Curly
Yeah.
Joe my Shemp. That's right. No. It would be Joe Dorita. He would Joe Dorita my
He would
Shemp.
Joe Dorita your Shemp.
Joe Besser. He would Joe Besser my
Joe
Shemp.
Besser your Shemp.
There you go. Whew. Sorry, all you Stooges fans out there.
Yeah.
It goes Curly, Shemp, Joe Besser, Curly
And
Joe.
Right.
So there you go.
All right.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Colin McGinnis.
Hey,
Hey,
Colin.
he's the guy who told us where Long and Winding Road was.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's
Oh,
also,
beautiful.
he ate pizza with Gold Leader.
What? Okay. What's your favorite Star Wars related tune? Not soundtrack related, but like the Rebel Force Band.
Oh,
That's a good question. They're all good questions.
that is a good question.
There's a lot of good Star Wars tunes.
Yeah. Well, some of the, there's a lot of good covers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that counts or not, but I really like that. It's out of print now. Otherwise, we would link to it more on the, through StarWarsMinute.com/Amazon. But the Ukulele Force, which is, I think, that Japanese kind of ukulele Star Wars cover album, has a lot of good tracks on it. But beside that, original Star Wars related numbers, I really do. I'm gonna have to go Dan Whitley. I think Chewie the Rookie Wookiee is. I'm never not in the mood to listen to that.
That's true. I'm going to say Richard Cheese did although it's not under his Richard Cheese name, it's under his real name, which I can't pull at the moment, but he did a parody of the Copacabana by Barry Manilow, but he made it about the Star Wars Cantina.
Right.
So I enjoy that. It includes a lot of Star Wars sound effects, and that is my choice for, I don't know if it counts as an original song, but it's not a cover of a Star Wars track. So
Right.
what is that guy's name in real life? Anyway, I'm sure if you Google Richard Cheese Cantina song, or it's Star Wars Cantina it's called, but
I didn't have that. You gave me that, and it was
yeah, I think Tony
It's amusing.
Consiglio
It's
passed
got
that on to me.
94 in it.
94.
Mm.
Yeah, it does have that in it.
Yeah.
So right there alone, I'm on board.
Travis Mackin says,
Travis.
What a Wookiee. Speaking of the rookie Wookiee.
Chewie the Rookie Wookiee.
is there one piece of Star Wars memorabilia that you would like to have from any of the movies, i.e. Lobot's headpiece or 2-1B, Luke's hand?
Like
Wow.
actual props.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a tough one.
It would. I would think it would have to be. Well, I want to say it would have to be something kind of practical that you could have around and be like, oh, guess what this is.
Right. You would want
But-
a CGI.
But, yeah. I want the tennis ball on a stick that they acted against for everything.
Can we pick could we say BB-8?
Oh, that
Is
would
that
be
a
nice.
choice? That's the one I'll say. But you want something practical that you can like wear. You should get the
Yeah, or-
Boshak spacesuit.
Yeah, oh yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
I would love actually one of those pressure suits, those RAF pressure suits that Boshek and Bosk and a couple other folks wear.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I would like to have one of those.
You would
even
have
if
to
it's
go
not-
as Boshek for Halloween every single year. You'd have to.
It's the only thing that's holding me back is
Grow
I don't have the
sideburns.
suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Olson, behind the scenes.
Hi, Mike.
How do you balance work and family? I guess because there is a lot of content.
Yeah.
How do you
There's-
balance work and family?
Well, Baby the Retailer is typing as we speak, I'm sure, to update us on this. But
She's mailing out the stickers right now. Don't worry.
it's a little tough. But that's why we have these hiatuses built in between seasons that are growing increasingly more important.
Well, especially this time because both Star Wars Minute and Alphabetical will be ending within like a week or two of
I
each
know.
other,
In
right?
May, I'm taking a summer break. So, but yeah, usually what happens is we'll record at some point during the week, and then the nights after I'll go home, we'll eat dinner, Baby the Retailer will go to bed, and then I'll stay up and edit at night and not get enough sleep.
It's doing it for you guys.
All for you. We got Michael McDermott with ever try and reach out to Ben Burt. He'd be a great special guest, especially since you guys show him so much love.
It's tricky. I think I'm a little worried about people that are actually involved with the thing. I don't know if they'd be allowed to.
Or we don't want to call any unwanted attention to our.
Right.
I mean, we had Nathan Hamill on. That was as close as we've gotten
That's true.
so
That's
far.
as close as we've gotten. Although I do have a lead on Ben Burt that I forgot to follow up on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some. I think like in that case, I almost feel like they would have to approach us because I feel like our show is so. I don't know. Weird or silly that just like we don't do straight up interviews and stuff like
Right.
so if it was someone who knew the show and was like I would love to come on and they kind of knew how we worked, but if someone doesn't know the show it's always a little awkward because we kind of have to like turn it into kind of interviewee and
Right.
they kind of fall into that interviewer
Right.
role of like, okay, now here's an answer. I mean, what could we ask Ben Burt that he hasn't been asked a trillion times already about Star Wars? So,
I think the only we haven't really had guests on that we've pursued and they haven't known about us except for like a handful of we've had people that like one step removed where it's been like, oh, you should have my friends on.
that's
like,
actually probably our best resource for getting people
Right.
on is
so.
you know.
Even if the friends might not know about us, somebody who does know about us and
Yeah.
have a friend, will put the two of us in touch so they know. There's a bridge there. But if
Yeah.
it's I think Dan Whitley was probably the only time that we just approached somebody that without knowing them.
Yeah, well, without any kind of introduction or anything.
Right.
So, and people are always suggesting, like listeners are always saying, "Oh, how come you haven't had blank person on?" And it's not a matter like I think the one we get asked all the time is Paul F. Tompkins. Like, "Oh, you should totally have Paul F. Tompkins on," and it's not a matter of us not wanting to. It's just, sometimes it's,
Has to happen organically. It's
yeah. There's a lot of people we would love to have on the show, but either the scheduling doesn't work out, or
Right.
or
But-
we just don't have that.
Feel free to ask them on Twitter or whatever. Hey, do you know about Star Wars Minute? Have you been on Star Wars Minute? Why aren't you on Star Wars Minute?
Yeah.
Don't do that all at once. But if you think of it,
Yeah, we don't want to be
ask
a
them on
pest.
Twitter at
Yeah.
us while you do it. But
Yeah.
All right.
what else we got?
We got Dan Telfer.
Hey,
Dan Telfer.
If they started a new animated series, what would you like to see?
ooh,
I have an answer if you want me to go first.
go first. Sure.
It's got to be Luke, Han, Leia, and the droids and Chewie having adventures together
Hmm.
in between Star Wars and Empire. I mean, that's what everyone wants to see. Like I feel like they're teasing us with this Rebels and Clone Wars, like, oh, everything except for the gang.
I'm worried that would get too explainy. That's exactly what I don't want. I don't want to see the people that we know really as much.
But I picture it being like those Marvel Star Wars comics where it's just a series of adventures where they're just kind of, nothing major can happen because they're just kind of killing time until the next story. So
yeah,
that's what I would pick anyway. You want to go a different, you want the Imperial Academy series?
boy.
Pod racing. Pod racing.
Or really, it's just like an anthology of anything, really.
Oh yeah, anthology is definitely the best answer.
Like the Tales from Jabba's Palace kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just do a story here and there.
But the point is during the Empire era, or do you
doesn't have to be,
you don't
no.
care? Well,
So I want it to be
fair
almost
enough.
like definitely an anthology. I was going to say
Right.
almost like a Twilight Zone, but not no twists.
Some twist every time.
Although that would be nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some kind of Star Wars horror thing that they were going to do where they were talking about?
Hmm?
I don't know.
They were going to do that. Rick McCallum was always going on about that crime story they were going to do.
No, I don't know.
Glad that didn't pan out.
Uh,
Sorry, Rick. I keep bashing you, but
Josh on the tube. Obligatory question. Would you rather fight one horse-sized mouse droid or 1,000 mouse droid-sized horses?
Wow.
I prepared myself to not laugh reading that, but it still got me.
I'm going to go a horse-sized mouse droid because I would break it. I don't mean break it like I would smash it into pieces. I mean I would bend it to my will, and then I could ride it around like a horse.
Right.
Yeah,
Just driving down the highway.
exactly.
Yay.
That would be the prop I would want, is to ride around on a mouse droid.
I'll have to say the same. I think the swarm sounds too scary. Although it's mouse droid-sized horses. Are they organic horses or are they robots? If they're organic, like actual creatures that are mouse droid-sized,
It would be like fighting chihuahuas, like puppets.
that could be satisfying for a couple minutes at least.
I wouldn't like that one.
No. All right.
Sorry.
All right.
But so you picking? So we both pick. We each picked a different one. That's good.
Yeah.
Fairness. So
Okay.
it makes the show work.
Some people were surprised you didn't go with Fet's Vet for a song.
Oh, yeah.
But John Michael Cooper, best lightsaber battle ever.
that a
Is he,
statement?
He's asking you
Oh.
guys. Sorry.
you want to go first this time?
I think it's tough to beat the end of Empire.
Empire's the one I was going to say.
Our good friend, my good friend Francesca, she replied in the thread like, "Hey, doesn't it have to be the one in Empire?"
Yeah,
So-
very much.
All right, let's take that one out of the equation since that's so obvious.
What about Han versus Tauntaun?
That's
No?
a good one.
Yeah.
Han v Tauntaun.
Dawn of Justice.
I guess if I take that one out, I got to go Return of the Jedi.
The end of Jedi.
Yeah.
I guess that's the only. So is it only a lightsaber fight? Like if it's at least two lightsabers. So like lightsaber versus lightsaber, not like.
I think you could count Luke on the skiff as a lightsaber battle,
Okay.
but I wouldn't put that in my favorite. The thing about the lightsaber battle in Jedi is I like the talking bits, but I don't really remember the actual lightsaber fight too much.
Mm-hmm. Other
So-
than when he really starts.
Yeah.
Whacking at him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But Empire.
There's some
Empire.
great suggestions for the next Big Head shirt. So I'm just scrolling through these to get to the next question.
The good thing is we can always ask all those other Twitter questions on
Yeah.
this week's Swim We.
Joe K asks, have you guys ever met any of the main actors from the film?
Peter Mayhew, famously.
Hmm.
Yes.
I've met a couple of the second-tier actors at comic book conventions and stuff. Your Kenny Bakers, your Admiral Piet, your teen Boba Fett. That's about it.
Hmm.
That's about it.
I talked to Mark Hamill on the phone.
Oh yeah.
You talked to Mark Hamill on the phone.
We saw Ray Park at that party.
We did?
Yeah.
Was it
Oh,
at
he
the
was
park?
at the
He was at
celebration party?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember
I
seeing
think so.
that. I must have been in the restroom
Right.
weeping at that point. I remember seeing Peter Mayhew at that
Sure. Yeah.
party, but so that's about it. No, not too many. Thank you for your question, though, Joe K. That was Joe K.
Yeah.
Well, this one's gonna be a good one, Adam. He's very entertained.
Oh man, Fandar Zelig, Why haven't you had Peter Cushing on? What do you have against him?
Pete doesn't like the prosthetics he uses these days.
Yeah. Plus, it gets too confusing if we have more than one person on the show named Pete.
Oh, that's true.
You know, I don't want Peter and Pete, and then who's
What if we call him like Pete the actor?
Hmm.
Pete the late actor.
the late actor?
It's weird calling him Pete. Pete
Yeah.
Cushing. Yeah, you know Pete Cushing.
Yeah. Little Petey Cushing.
R.I.P.
Accent
Pete.
In fuzzy slippers. Accent 303. How would you react if George Lucas himself asked to be on the show?
Sure.
I would probably be stunned and shocked.
Shocked and stunned.
And but of course we would have him on.
Yeah. I would love to hear his take on anything.
Wouldn't it be great if he came on and he was totally like cool and like, you know, relaxed about it and stuff? And
Right.
that would be awesome. So George, give us a call.
If you want to add him on Twitter. He's
Yeah.
not on Twitter.
Jason Jong wants to know how you guys feel about Mandalorians.
I think it's a little too gender specific. It should be person DeLoreans.
Also, Man-DeLoreans, time-traveling bounty hunters.
There you go.
That's your next mashup shirt.
Mhm.
Yep.
There's the
Boba Fett and Jango Fett looking at their watches standing in
Man
front,
of
of,
DeLoreans.
in front of Slave
You
One.
guys,
Yeah.
no one steal that idea.
The only thing other than Boba Fett and Jango Fett, I remember the Mandalorian story in Rebels. Did you ever watch that one?
no. I've never watched a single Rebel.
Oh, not Rebels. I'm sorry, Clone Wars, where Obi-Wan falls in love with some Mandalorian princess or something.
No.
And I found it to be such a snooze, so I'm kind of anti-Mandalorian. Plus the whole Boba Fett backlash.
I gave up pretty early on Clone Wars because I realized they're never going to beat C-3PO and Jar Jar on the planet of the Greedos. So,
Yeah, that's true. It's all downhill from there.
yep.
Rick Wilmoth, where do you
Hi,
rank
Rick.
The Force Awakens among the movies?
Good question.
It's tough to, you know, like if a band that you like comes out with a new album, but you've listened to the earlier albums so many times that it's like it's hard to objectively kind of place it above ones that you've just, you know. Jedi is just so it's part of everything enough.
It's like an energy field that
Yeah, it surrounds us.
binds us all together.
It's so ensconced in the experience, Star Wars experience. I have a hard time putting The Force Awakens above Jedi just because it's it's so new and I don't know how I'll feel about it. But
My first instinct is to rank it fourth.
but you like
That's my first instinct.
so below Revenge of the Sith, but above Jedi.
No, after we did Jedi, it made me like Jedi better than Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
So I went back to Star Wars, Empire, Jedi. But for me, it would be Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, Force Awakens, Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. But it'll be different once we've done the minute by minute of all of them. That'll be the
Right.
true objective,
Right.
breakdown. Because I
Although-
might like Phantom Menace better by the end of this.
We'll never be done though. That's the whole thing.
What do you mean?
We'll never be able to. It's like the we can never be the observer and the experiment at the same time or something. By observing theoretically there's going to be a new Star Wars movie every year from now until the end of time. So
This is true.
we'll never be able to stop and be like, okay, here's our definitive ranking.
Right. So you just have to check in periodically. That is currently my ranking.
Right.
Pete
Currently,
will not,
I'd
Pete will
put
not
it-
go on the record.
Currently, I say Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, Force Awakens, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Although there's it's like Star Wars and Empire, then there's a little bit of a gap. Then there's kind of Jedi
Holiday special.
The holiday special, of course, looms like a shadow of everything we've done here. Then there's kind of a middle pack of Jedi, Force Awakens, and Phantom Menace.
Really? You put Phantom Menace in that same pack?
It's in a middle pack, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's the other two, which we'll get to. They're currently pending.
You heard it here first.
We've got J. Griff Composer. You might. When did you guys record the current batch of shows? Scrimshaw said you were recording before the release of The Force Awakens, so it must have been recent.
Did he?
You kept that in? I'm really surprised.
I thought
Something should have been edited out.
maybe, yeah.
All right. Yes, good detective work. We recorded these prior to the
Well, now I want to go find that. I thought we had a whole conversation there. I got to know what was that in today's? Somebody let me know when that was.
So you can go back and
We had a whole bit of a conversation that
Change
I
history.
had to, a couple of bits of conversation that I had to snip out.
Okay. We can come back to that. I'll get to some of these questions, though.
Right.
Spencer Apsley again. Can we get some more Obi-Wan and Sheev Palpatine impressions from Alex?
Oh boy, do I do? I thought Scrimshaw did the Palpatine.
Scrimshaw does a good Sheev. Yeah.
I've found that since they started doing alphabetical, and I have not been imitating Alec Guinness for a long time. I'm
And
right
Frank,
into that one. I am slowly losing my. I can still do Ben Kenobi lines from Star Wars. Oh, the Force is what gives a Jedi his power, and so on. But I can't just take anything now and make it sound like Obi. It sounds much more Liverpudlian. Like, what does your heart tell you? Just doesn't sound right.
after that, Francesca
He
followed.
knows nothing. Agreed.
Francesca seconded that, saying that your Obi-Wan impression always makes her smile.
Oh, thank you, Francesca.
I thought I was her favorite.
Aw.
We got Ready Daddy.
Ready, Daddy.
Are you ever going to have someone really young on, maybe for an all-star episodes? One of these actual kids we hear about who love this movie so much.
Well, we had Mars was on in season 1.
He was a
I
high
think,
school
and he
lad
was-
at the
I
time.
think he was 15 at the time.
But it's not that we're against it. It's just it's
Again, it's the same thing as why we haven't had Patton Oswalt on. It's got to be organic. We got to come across it.
yeah. I mean, if we met a kid who was really into the prequels or any Star Wars thing, and we thought they'd be funny. That's the thing. Also, someone has to be like. That's our number one thing. Not necessarily Star Wars trivia or really loving the prequels or anything like that. It's like if we try to get entertaining people first and foremost.
Right.
If you're entertaining and don't know anything about Star Wars, we'll still have you. In fact, we would love to have you on if you don't know anything about Star Wars.
That's
But
true. That would be interesting.
yeah.
I got one that I'm just learning about, too.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen the Build the Millennium Falcon subscription? It's 25 months at $60 per month, so $1,600. This is Christian Korea. I am torn on whether or not to go for it. It's a movie replica. Why shouldn't I get it?
What's the scale of this? I don't know what.
Oh, it doesn't say the scale, no. I'd imagine it's got to be sizable for $1,600.
Yeah, but not full size. That seems
No,
cheap
I mean,
for
yeah.
$1,600.
Yeah.
Toothpicks.
If you have the room, go for it. If you have the room and the means,
Yeah.
there's no reason not to.
Is there ever a time in your life where you would have lived on let's say someone built a life-size Millennium Falcon replica with rooms and sleeping quarters and everything? Would you have lived in that, paid rent and lived in the Millennium Falcon?
Sure.
If it was like in a parking lot?
Yeah. you put it in the past tense so that I wouldn't do that right now.
Hello, we're moving. Mark Thompson, would you be interested in a Dexter Jetster spin-off about his adventures in the Outer Rim? That sounds like a joke, but I for real want that. He's got some stories.
Well, we do know Obi-Wan and Dexter go back, so maybe that'll be in the Obi-Wan movie. That loves the idea.
Out of the context, it's mainly the setting. It's mainly the diner
Yeah.
that I really dislike. That all of a sudden we're just in it's a little too. It's like kind of like what we were talking about recently, like braces and girlfriends and ducks and stuff like that. That's like it's a little too real worldy.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the diner. But maybe Dexter Jetster outside of that context, I would like more.
I would love it if they did a Dexter Jetster and they revealed him to be like a brutal, like a really vicious killer, and then here he is in the diner. And he's all like-
hey, how you doing? Hey.
like the last time we see him, I want him to be covered in blood of
Right.
someone he just a good person that he just beheaded. So there you go.
Also, that was today's episode that happened.
Interesting.
What if John Michael Cooper? What if Kylo Ren is not very good at fighting with a lightsaber? It would explain how Finn and Rey could keep him at bay.
Spoilers. I think we're not gonna.
We're not going
to delve deep into that. Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Save,
You're gonna,
save it for
What was that?
2018.
What were those hand gestures about? Time?
yeah. I just keeping track.
Yeah. It's almost 7:30, so we're almost up.
Okay.
Um,
Couple of more.
yeah. So we got we can shoot through some quick ones. Accent 303, for or against a gritty Christmas special reboot?
No, the
Four.
original. The original stands on its own merit still.
If they were to redo it, who would play the Harvey Korman part? Would it be like Will Ferrell?
No, that would make me not like it.
I don't mean you. I mean, like, if the TV people were like, we need a versatile comic actor to play a chef in drag, a tech support robot, and
Mm-hmm.
a guy with a hole in his head.
What about like your Fred Armisen?
Fred Armisen?
I feel like he can do those kinds of
Right.
roles.
All right, so B. Arthur, who would play her? It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Nobody can replace B. Arthur.
Art Carney is going to be Ray Romano.
That works perfectly.
I'd watch that.
They should redo a holiday special with the people from episode 7.
While on that, what's your favorite scene from the holiday special? Joe K asked that. He's a big fan of the Jefferson Starship section.
As a kid, I always fast forwarded through the musical numbers, the songs.
But now you like them?
Now I like them more, especially the Jefferson Starship one is good. But the one that stuck with me for the longest is probably Chef Gourmand. It's the one I referenced the most, I think.
I guess to me the standout is the cartoon, the Boba Fett cartoon. But I
Right.
guess taking that out,
It does have Y-Wings.
it does have Y wings. I will say the space tumblers,
Oh, the Lumpy Circus.
Lumpy Circus.
Colin McGinnis says, you guys talked a little about some of the cranky calls that you get to 8 Day Greedo. What's been the most ridiculous?
It's not that they're ridiculous. It's, obviously people have different...
More nitpicky.
Yeah, they experience Star Wars in a different way than we do, and they are, the nitty gritty of the EU Wikipedia stuff is a lot more important to them. We use it as kind of a touchstone, kind of jumping off point, and we
Fodder.
riff on it. Yeah. But we get a lot of calls saying like, no, it didn't happen that way. Like this is,
Yeah, if you read Tales of the Jedi #7, you'll see that
Right.
Mara Jade destroyed CZ1.
really?
Sorry, it's
Oh.
Legends now. Legend has it that
Oh,
that's what
wow.
happened, but
Yeah, we don't play so tight with the what was canon.
right.
Um,
And we also
but-
don't go back and correct any.
Yeah, we
things.
don't correct ourselves ever. Although I might have to go check out whatever we said about episode 7 coming out.
We edit late at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Um,
tired.
Ready, Deddy. Will you ever have someone who hasn't seen the Will you ever have someone on who hasn't seen the movie at all? You mentioned it occasionally, bringing someone in cold and having them watch a minute and see what they think.
Again, we're open to it, but it's just we'd have to find the right person who would have to be someone that we know.
Yeah, the person would have to be entertaining and have never seen it. And also, it's like, do we want to take a chance on including that person and not including like a funny,
Right.
like comedian that we really like or something. So, but although your idea about making Attack of the Clones and Sith one basically scheduling block definitely opens this up to possibilities. I like that idea. So you're seeing this really behind the scenes stuff here.
As it happens.
Yes. As it happens, you're watching it.
Michael Centra, now that you've covered them, what's your favorite minute from the original trilogy?
Do you think it changed? Do you think I don't think my favorite scenes would have been changed by doing it. Although there's some stuff I like better. None of my favorite scenes. It didn't make anything a favorite that I didn't already love.
Right. It's tough.
It is
'Cause
tough. Just picking a favorite is tough.
Yeah, I can't even. I normally say the Gold Squadron's attack run is probably my favorite part of the whole deal, even though it's got none of the characters that we know in it. It's so weird. I don't know, but I just love the trench Death Star, Death Star battle in general, and then that's the Y-wings and the tension there. But to break it down to a specific minute is tough.
Is there any scenes that you that doing minute by minute changed the way you looked at it? Like you appreciated it more or you liked it less? Like for me, I think Jedi as a whole,
Right.
it was, but particularly the scene of Luke and Vader on the when Luke surrenders himself to Vader on the platform of Endor. I find that scene much more compelling now than I did prior to watching a minute at a time. That's the one that's Jedi in general improved the most going through minute by minute.
Right.
We have one more question?
Yeah,
Time
we got one that you apparently answered on a special episode you did with Jason Crane, but
Jason Crane.
But I don't know if you want to. It's a
See
nice
here?
closing question.
Okay. Sure. We'll close with
Ali
this one.
G or Ali G Buyukasha. Has anyone asked how you two met? I feel like that's a pretty fitting.
Well, let's see. I was a slave, and you were.
I was a
you
princess.
were in
I was
town.
a queen.
Right.
There to try to fix the hyperdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you were working at Forbidden Planet at the time, and I was a cartoonist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just like between,
It was we had.
it wasn't like one of us got pulled onto a ship and one of us said, "Oh, Pete the Retailer, meet Alex Robinson. Here's
Right.
the big momentous thing." It was just kind of like,
Yeah, I think we were kind of like, oh yeah, nod, kind of acquaintance level from that, and then we ended up hanging out at some conventions.
yeah.
And then when the first Mocha show was being planned, we ended up talking more during that.
Well, that's right because So
And then
so I guess
I don't
what has
know,
it probably
eventually-
been about 15 years.
And I just watched
Could've
from
been.
the distance.
right.
Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, I didn't meet Adam until this afternoon. It was very, very.
Yet I was
uncomfortable.
working in the same store. I was
Yep.
just there.
Well, I guess that's kind of a.
Right.
I wish we had a firmer answer. We should just make up something from now on. Like, I came in and said, "How much is that Dengar bust?" And you were like, "I
I
gotta
was
be
like,
friends with that
Don't
guy."
buy that. Buy box office poison.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, thanks everyone for joining us,
Yeah.
and I'm glad this worked. And it seemed like it worked because people were
People were chatting.
answering questions.
And then we're going to go put this, I believe, the recording of it, we're going to put it on the Patreon page. So Patreon supporters can go watch it after the fact,
Yeah.
I hope.
I like the sense of community too, because they were answering their own questions
Oh,
within
yeah.
the chats, and then like giving each other like tips on where to get this and all this other stuff.
Yeah, no, the fans are awesome. And the Listener Society is turned into a wonderful thing. That
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of you guys are coming from. If not, check it out on Facebook, Star Wars Minute Listener Society.
Star Wars Minute Listener Society.
Oh, Star Wars Minute.
Well, we have
Listener
some minutes to record. That's a little behind the scenes scoop, right?
Oh, yeah.
Snaps!
We're recording right after this.
We're actually going to live stream the recording of the
No,
episodes.
no.
We're gonna leave the microphones on. And
Oh wait, we wanted to say because this was for really the 3,000 mark on Patreon.
that's right.
So thanks everybody for helping us get there. While we were planning it, we passed the 4,000 mark on Patreon. So now we want to know what you guys would want to see for the 5,000 mark if we get there.
That's a good point. What would you like to see us do
You
to
wanna-
please you?
Another one of these, or a different thing, or something we hadn't thought of.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought it would be funny if we did a recreation of a single minute. Like they could pick an actual minute,
You mean
and then we
act it
would have
out,
to
or-
somehow recreate that. Yeah.
So the minute of the movie, not the minute of us talking.
No,
about
not the minute of us talking. Actual minute of the movie.
Right. Although now you could put the idea in my head of Star Wars Minute Live, where we go on tour and do some of our best minutes,
Yeah.
like just beat by beat.
Well, we'd need a couple of Pete's and a couple of Alex's, so we could do scene changes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's true. So
Mm.
well, maybe that's when we can have Radke and other
there
guests
you go.
fill in
Right.
for us doing those,
Mhm.
doing our parts while we did our costume changes.
Yeah.
So
Josh,
anyway,
mine is Josh.
Josh Flanagan.
I don't think he knows though.
I like how you were like Josh.
Mine is Josh. But I didn't want to, we didn't want to dance around it. I wanted to fill it in, but he's,
So yeah, let
He's
us
busy.
know. Let us know what perks you want to see.
it's not 3D though.
Oh,
No.
we're not. I thought we were remastering this.
We
in
couldn't
3D.
afford
Well,
that
eventually,
one.
yeah.
Well, you can edit that out, right?
I'm guaranteed a guest spot in any iteration of this show, though, right? With
Thanks,
your
everyone.
replacements.
Thanks for listening,
Well,
everyone.
No.
We'll see if the recording of this went through.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star
Minute.
Wars Minute.
We don't really have a stop button, so this
Yeah.
is maybe now we'll just
Oh, I think I do somewhere. just slide out, guys.
that,
Now
that-
I am running the show now.
Oh no. Oh
So yeah,
no.
thanks everybody for
Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.